Perfect. Lovely. Thank you.
Mm.
Yes, I'm Naomi Wilkinson, Associate Director of Publishing at Epigeum, part of Sage Publishing, and I'll be presenting with my colleague Jonathan Wakeford, Senior Learning Consultant. We're going to be talking about embedding research impact into the researcher journey and how this can be supported by effective training, including examples of how some universities are implementing our training. As John said, please do feel free to add questions into the chat. Next slide, please. Epigeum was founded in 2005 as a spin-out company from Imperial College London. We were most recently acquired by Sage Publishing in 2023 to further its mission to build bridges to knowledge through the provision of high-quality learning resources. We deliver online programs across research, studying and support and wellbeing, and these are developed through global collaboration of experts and partner universities and shared by subscription. Born digital, each programme delivers active learning experiences that are rich, coherent and memorable, advancing the careers of academic and professional staff, students and researchers. Next slide, please. To start, I'm going to share a little info about one of our programmes, Research Impact, Creating Meaning and Value. So we worked with our lead advisors, Tamika Hayden and Jed Hall, and a team of expert contributors, as well as 21 partner universities around the world, to create a broad introduction to impact throughout the research journey, providing researchers with the essential knowledge and skills to plan, embed, and evidence impact throughout their research project. With modules providing broad coverage of all key topics across research impact, and with examples cutting across all major disciplines, the modules can be implemented in a flexible way. It's also important to address research impact as part of broader research development training, which is why it's also addressed in modules within some of our other programmes, such as Research Skills Toolkit and Advancing Your Research Career. Next slide, please. So why does research impact matter? Many universities are focusing on embedding impact as part of the research culture, in recognition of the benefits that delivering research impact can bring to the university, not only in terms of rankings and reputation, and of course funding, but in helping to deliver meaningful change in the real world, particularly in relation to the Sustainable Development Goals. And quoting from the course, a healthy impact culture is founded not only in research of an individual or group, but also in the shared purpose of a community, supported by their institution's capacity for facilitating impact. Most researchers want to make a difference, and research impact is therefore the means by which they can demonstrate value, enabling them to articulate and showcase the meaningful change and impacts that their research delivers. While researchers are increasingly aware of the importance of research impact, there is no single definition of what it actually is, and creating impact and delivering meaningful change can be a complex process. Delivering consistent training across your institution can therefore help researchers to understand what research impact means in their context, and will support them in developing the fundamental skills to embed impact throughout the research lifecycle, helping to support universities in embedding a broad culture of research impact. As learners progress through our modules, they are encouraged to reflect and think creatively about what they might want to achieve beyond academia and how they could start at whatever scale. So why is training researchers in impact important? It's crucial for several reasons. Proper training helps researchers to ensure that their studies are robust and fully and transparently reported, thus enhancing research quality. It's also important to ensure that researchers are supported with impact training throughout the research lifecycle, from writing an impact plan at the start of the project to understanding the cyclical nature of impact and the importance of evaluation and monitoring. Understanding how to engage stakeholders through the research process is also advantageous. Involving them in shaping projects increases their commitment to assisting with generating impact. While retrofitting impact is possible, impact planning should be integrated from the outset in order to support effective strategic planning, aligning the work with societal needs as well as funding priorities and policy. It helps to maximise outcomes, as by considering the impact at each stage of the process, researchers can adapt methods, collaborate effectively, and communicate results to diverse audiences. Impact is integral to research funding applications because it helps to demonstrate accountability for the use of public funds, demonstrates how the research benefits wider society, and how it can address real-world problems. And finally, career progression. Demonstrating impact has become essential to career advancement. Researchers need critical and creative thinking skills to showcase their ability to create impact, which can positively influence institutional reputation and professional growth, increase opportunities for collaboration and networking, and also open up career opportunities to industry, government, and nonprofit roles, especially important considering that many PhDs move into careers outside academia. Next slide, please. So our programme Research Impact will provide a broad introduction to impact, providing all researchers with the essential knowledge and skills they need to ensure that impact is embedded in every step of the researcher journey. It's relevant to researchers at all levels, but particularly doctoral students, postdoctoral and early career researchers. And it will help them to understand what impact means and identify the key elements of the impact process throughout the research life cycle. Undertake a stakeholder analysis and create an impact plan that considers impact activities, resourcing, requirements and risk assessment. Understand the importance of assessing impact and identify indicators and evidence of impact. Develop a dissemination engagement strategy and recognise how to engage with different audiences and stakeholders, and define which methods can be used to evaluate impact throughout the research life cycle. And now I'm going to hand over to John.
Okay, thank you very much, Naomi, for that overview. I'm just going to very briefly talk through some of the implementation approaches that the institutions that we work with are taking. It's worth saying that this program only published last year, and so we and the institutions themselves are sort of learning on how it is being used and tweaking approaches accordingly. It's currently implemented in quite a wide variety of ways, actually, in more than 20 institutions across the UK, mainland Europe, and in Australia as well. And responsibility for the training program itself also varies, but can typically be held either by a central team with responsibility for training in this area, or quite often actually devolved to a sort of faculty or school or college level, depending on the institution, to specific research impact officers or similar roles there. So that's maybe where the training is held, and then how it's implemented again will vary quite widely. Naomi mentioned a couple of the sort of target audiences for the program, but we've also found that this can vary across institutions. So there are examples where where particular modules of the program have been embedded as part of, for example, the second year of an MRes. The PGRs and early career researchers tend to be the main audience for this, and it can be made a requirement in some examples, but typically it's optional training. It's also being used to raise awareness of impact at a kind of higher institutional level among, for example, more experienced researchers, professional staff, that's a key one as well, and other what you might term research adjacent staff, so comms team, impact support, policy engagement, etc. It's often a part of or it can be made a part of a more sort of structured training program as well, and is often used in what you might term a sort of blended approach, where the online element is complemented and enhanced with other often synchronous training activities. So I'm just going to spend the final couple of minutes with a little bit of a focus on one of the institutions with whom we work, and that's Lancaster University. So big thanks must go for the feedback received here to the Impact Development Manager at the Faculty of Health and Medicine and Management School at Lancaster, Dr. Matt Pawelski. I asked Matt why Lancaster chose to use this program, and they were one of what we call a development group members. So one of those institutions that Naomi mentioned earlier that actually came together to help us shape the nature, the scope of the program. And they saw that as an opportunity to offer their end users ultimately accessible, high quality introductory course, but also as potentially a valuable refresher for others who maybe had already had a knowledge of the sort of impact space. So yeah, hopefully the objective there was then to sort of have this wider institutional level, base level of training, and leading to a sort of positive impact on research culture. We're still in early days though of this. As I said, it only published last year, so both Lancaster and ourselves are sort of learning of how this will be measured over time, and how we can hopefully sort of prove some of that efficacy. The audience at Lancaster specifically, as we've already alluded to earlier, is principally postgrads and early career researchers in the initial stages of exploring their sort of impact journeys, but it is also made available to other professional services and other academic staff. It's the way that they raise awareness is in specific presentations around impact, but also in one-to-one basis, and they're also exploring this academic year that we're about to enter sort of other ways of integrating it into the other support that they offer in this area. So in terms of that, there's a wide range of different impact support available at Lancaster, and the Epigeum program itself forms just one part of that, complementing the other offerings that they have. So you could consider our training as a sort of base level, if you like, certainly for those initial impact training needs or the refresher needs, but then as more complex or maybe discipline specific or topic specific needs arise, then there is more personalized one-to-one support available there. And again, it's early days, but the early feedback suggests that all of the modules have been found to be relevant and easy to use, and the fact that it is sort of broken down into modules is useful, because people can dip in and dip out at the sort of point of need. As I'm sure we're all aware, people have lots of other commitments and priorities, so the ability to dip in and dip out and revisit the training is seen to be a major advantage. And I'll just leave you with some testimonials here from actual end users there at Lancaster. The module on planning, which is one of the earlier modules, was great and helped to explain why the following modules were in fact needed, says one person. Another says that all modules are relevant to different stages of one's career, they've found, and they've given an example there of projects that they're working on in human-computer interactions. This person highlights not only the virtue of impact, but the realism of making research impact appealing to stakeholders, which is an important practical consideration. And finally, the last testimonial here says how practical the learning outcomes are and how they actually have a takeaway and how they wish they had that resource when they'd started off. So with that, comes to the end of our session. If you do have any questions about the program, or you'd like to have a look at it, request trial access, you can either drop us a line here in the chat and we'll follow up with you, or you can contact either Naomi or me using our email addresses there, or if you scan that QR code that's on the screen there, it will take you to a page with more information where you can request a trial. So thank you very much once again for joining us today, and we very much hope that you enjoy the rest of the Vitae conference. It looks great, so enjoy. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Great, thank you very much.
Thank you too. Thank you very much.